everyone. I am Mrs. Cruz. I teach second grade. And my joke is, what do you get when you cross a dog and a calculator? A friend you can count on. But I'm reading chapter 4 of The Pet War. Ask away, said Lexi. She stood straight, trying to look calm and confident, but Mom was famous for her tough questions. Her questions were even worse than a math teacher asking you a problem involving trains, distance, starting times, and when the trains would pass each other, assuming one traveled 45 miles per hour in an easterly direction and the other traveled 30 miles per hour in a westerly direction. I mean, when would I ever need to know what time two trains pass? Teachers had too much time on their hands if they were coming up with questions like that. What happens to the pet when you two visit your dad for the weekend? Mom asked. I'm not going to take care of it while you're away. Dad loves cats, said Lexi. Mom arched her eyebrow again. He'll grow to love them at least. Everyone loves cats. I'm sure Dad will be happy to let Fluffernutter stay over with us. Fluffernutter? Asked Mom, scratching her head. That's what I thought we might name her, mumbled Lexi, blushing slightly. She shuffled through a thick notepad. I started making a chart of cat names, but ran out of time. I have a list somewhere, but Dad loves dogs more. I jumped into the argument while Lexi was distracted. He wanted a dog when he was growing up. He told me that once. I bet he'd love a dog. And I'll even let you and Dad name it. You can name it something way cooler than Fluffernutter. Score one for me. Mom neither smiled nor frowned. She was as easy to read as a math book. I have another question, she said. Who's going to pay for it? Pets are expensive and money doesn't grow on trees, you know. I'll get a job, I said, before Lexi could answer. I had thought this one out already. And I'll pay for the dog myself, out of my earnings. The dog, I should add, that you and Dad get to name something other than Fluffernutter. Mom still looked dead serious. She wasn't yet convinced. I don't know. It's not a one-time price. There are vet bills and food and a lot of other costs. And who's going to hire an 11-year-old kid? A lot of people, I said. I could do all sorts of things to make money, and I'll keep my job even after we get a dog so I can continue to pay for it. I'm not sure, Mom mumbled to herself, but she didn't leave the couch, and she didn't shake her head. She was softening like an overripe banana. How will you have time for a job and play soccer and hang out with your friends and keep up with your schoolwork? You're already struggling in math. I can do this, Mom. I know I can. Trust me. I flashed my brightest smile. I can be responsible. Mom was silent, mulling things over. I had a good feeling about this. It was going to happen. My own dog. If your grades slip or if you get too busy, we would have to get rid of it, said Mom. But they won't. I'll study extra hard, I promise. You'll love a dog, Mom. I bet the dog, whose name isn't Fluffernutter, will be your best friend. I couldn't believe it. I had beat Lexi in her stupid posters. I never beat Lexi at anything. I felt so happy I could almost burst, a balloon of joy being filled with helium and floating up and up and up to the ceiling. Wait a second, said Lexi. I have an idea. She smiled, and just like that, a toothpick pricked my helium balloon of happiness. It flittered helplessly all around the room before finally landing on the floor. A worthless heap of rubber. I think Otto trying to earn enough money for a pet is a great idea. If I could have arched my eyebrow, this would have been the ideal time for it. Instead, I furrowed my forehead, which is the next best thing. You do? What better way to show Mom you can be responsible? Of course. If you can't earn enough money, it would be a shame, especially since owning a cat costs way less money than owning a dog. How much less? Asked Mom, leaning forward. Lexi pulled down poster number 6 to reveal a final poster. It was coated with glitter an inch thick. It had little red hearts and a bright green, three-dimensional dollar sign. She had spent a lot of time on this board. I call your attention to chart number 7. She waved at it broadly, like a ringmaster introducing trained seals. I bring you pets and money, or why dogs are really, really too expensive. Lexi had written down categories with dollar amounts separated in columns for dogs and cats. As you can see, she said, pointing to the first column on the board, dogs have much higher vet bills compared to cats. Look how much money it costs for vaccines, heartworm medication, dog food, a dog house, and so on. Owning a dog costs a small fortune. She pointed to the second column. Now look at how much less it costs to own a cat. Food is less, medical costs are less. She tapped the bottom of the board, where the totals were written in bold numbers. In conclusion, the total cost of caring for an average-sized dog is more than $1,500 a year, compared to less than $1,000 a year for a cat. But it doesn't matter, I protested. I'm not going to work for the money. Exactly, said Lexi, and I know you can raise the money. She said this in such a sweet, smiling voice that I knew she was lying through her teeth. But what if you can't? I proposed a small contest. We each raise money for our pet. Whoever raises it soonest wins. Of course, Otto will need to earn a lot more money since dogs cost so much more. It's only fair. That's not fair, I complained. It's not my fault dogs are twice as expensive. They're only 50% more expensive, math genius, Lexi scoffed. And you're the one that wants a pricier pet. Dogs cost more because they are better animals. Nice cars cost more than cheap cars. Nice houses cost more than lousy houses. Dogs cost more than disgusting cats because they are better. I mean, everyone knows that, and Mom shouldn't need to read a stupid poster to know it. I was so angry I could feel my face burning red. Dogs are not better. Dogs have horrible breath. They just ooze smell. Do we really want a walking stink bomb in this house? Asked Lexi, wincing. Why not? We already have you, I yelled. It's called perfume, Lexi screamed back, and it's a mix of honeysuckle, green apple, vanilla, and mandarin. Stink bomb, stink bomb. Knock it off, yelled Mom. I agree with Otto. You think Lexi is a stink bomb? I asked, surprised. Mom shook her head. No, I agree. It wouldn't be fair for you to have to earn more money. But I like the idea of a contest. Here's what we'll do. Whoever raises $500 wins, and the winner decides what pet we get. But, Mom, said Lexi. No buts, interrupted Mom, except for a few ground rules. You still have to do all your chores and homework. If either of your grades at school slip, you're disqualified. No matter how much money you've saved, your father has to agree too. And one more thing, both of you have to share the responsibility of taking care of the winning pet, dog or cat. Agreed? Agreed, Lexi and I shouted at the same time. Today is March 2nd. I'll give you both until the end of the month. If neither of you has raised enough money, we don't get a pet. Understood? I nodded my head. You bet I understood. I sprinted toward the phone to call Dad. I needed to get him on board immediately. Your father's out of town on business, Mom called out. You can ask him when you see him next weekend. I skidded to a halt. Lexi snickered at me, but I couldn't wait to throw those snickers back to her hair-ball-loving face. Lexi didn't have a chance. I could earn this money in my sleep, assuming someone would pay me to sleep. I was confident I could come up with even better ideas to earn money in no time at